Alright, what's up everybody? It has been a minute since I have posted a YouTube video. I took a little bit of a break. So, I mean, man, it felt good. It felt really, really good. I was actually thinking about doing another video on just talking about breaks and stuff. I feel like everybody does that at some point on YouTube, right? So I'll maybe do something there, write a blog or something like that. But my name is JDoza. If you have not seen me around before, I am a Legends of Runeterra caster and streamer and a bunch of other stuff. Love this game, and I love right now that there's a new patch out. That's right, baby. Finally get a new patch. Very, very excited to take a look at all these new cards, and that's what we're going to be going over today. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into the most recent patch right now for Legends of Runeterra, which, make sure I get this right, is patch 2.18.0. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rundown of cards. All right, here we go. We have the patch. Just came out, I think as of recording this, about an hour and a half ago. I'm a little bit behind today. Give me a break here. But first thing I want to talk about here, we're going to go through every single thing that is on here. This first section, an update on card updates. It's like the meeting about the meeting. Man, this should have been what they wrote a year and a half ago. All right, I'm just going to throw that one out there. I love Riot. I think they've done a spectacular job with this game. But let's be honest, we've had updates like every other month. They kept on trying to say they were going to do them monthly or bi-weekly or whatever, all these other great plans. And in all reality, they were never able to deliver. They should have just said this from the beginning. I'm okay with this. They're being honest. That's totally cool. And I'm honestly not terribly disappointed that it's every other month. I would like it to be monthly, but I do understand not wanting it to fall within the same time that, you know, new sets are dropping and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. But they also kind of talked about their philosophy. This is the same old stuff that we're used to kind of seeing. Says we feel that live balance updates are important to improve LoR's overall player experience. Of course, definitely agree. Nerfing clear overperformers, buffing underperformers, and generally improving deck diversity. That's the whole reason they do these anyways, right? We want to make sure we're seeing some of the underplayed regions played a little bit more. Targon anybody? We're going to see that in a second. I'm just saying. Targon looking hot right now. Just throwing that out there, all right? So they go into a little bit more in detail. What is live balance philosophy? And they just explain kind of what live is, right? Live, again, for those of you who don't know, is based off of live data. So everybody's on ranked ladder. We're getting real live statistics, real live games being played, and numbers from those games. And it's basically leading to, you know, their decisions, right? What they end up changing for card balance is based off of those live numbers. And it's always been like that, right? So they talk about their gameplay analysis team, the GAT, direct player feedback, surveys, stuff like that. So it does say at the bottom, how are they supporting it moving forward? Talking about refining it, stuff like that. They do mention during each expansion cycle, that's what I just mentioned before, you know, they do want to kind of separate things out there, make sure that the expansion isn't dropping the same day as, you know, a card update might drop. So that does make a whole lot of sense. So we got this graphic again. We kind of already knew all this stuff. I don't know if December was on a graphic previously, but nonetheless it is. Magical Misadventures is the expansion in December. There's going to be another seasonal tournament, of course, and then another ranked season. So kind of feels bad they didn't release any 2022 info yet. I imagine that's going to be 2 months from now. So around Christmas time, we're probably going to get more information as to how 2022 is going to work. And with any kind of luck, maybe they announce how World is going to work next year. Just throwing it out there. It's just a thought. Just a thought. So there's the roadmap. We got a PvE expansion coming out too, which I'm kind of curious to see what they do with that. All right. So, targets. Tone down some cards that are overly impactful in the current meta. I.e., you know, Nami, Twin Blade Revenant. I mean, these cards are everywhere. Sparklefly. We see these all the time, constantly having problems. Aloof Travelers. It's like basically one of the first staples in Legends of Runeterra in every single deck, right? Reduce frustrating matchups, of course. Encourage greater region diversity. Another, of course. Again, that's kind of the whole point of these balance changes. And then improve overall quality of life. Some underplayed champions and archetypes. That's really, I think, the most important thing about card updates. You know, it's good to pull back on the strength of some things, but we also do need to recognize what cards are underpowered that basically aren't played. We do see some of those here in a second. So, all right. Let's get right to it. The first one, Nami. I love this change to Nami because of another change that we're going to see. If the other change wasn't made, this change would not be that great. Changing her so that she can't necessarily come down on turn 4 leveled is actually incredibly important. Versus, coming down on turn 5. It slows her down a lot, but it still keeps intact her overall strategy, which is great. So it doesn't completely kill her archetype and the whole, double trouble, combo and stuff like that. So that's great. I'm, worried about other elusive units and stuff like that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We'll get into that in a second. Draven has been a long time coming, baby. Long time coming. This bad boy has been probably by far and away the best champion in the game for quite some time. Fiora was reduced to a 3-2. I saw some memes of people wanting Fiora to be back to a 3-3 would solve some things. Not going to be the case. But as a 3-2, I think it makes a lot more sense. He's an aggressive champion. He should have a higher attack stat than a defense stat or health, life, whatever you want to call it. Even a 4-2 might not even be that bad. I think that's probably too much. But yeah, I like this, right? He still gets his axes. He gets one when he gets played. He's still a great champion. The only difference is now he can get picked off with things like Mystic Shot, right? So I think this is a great change for Draven. I think it's going to tone down Noxus a lot, alongside one other card we'll see. Tristana and Nocturne. First off, I'm going to just throw it out. Nocturne, love it. Love the Nocturne update, 100%. People actually were asking why did he not have Nightfall. I actually think I saw Ruben in a stream that he was doing talk about why the hell doesn't Nocturne retain Nightfall in his level 2. So this is perfect. Tristana also makes sense. She's her own finisher, kind of, right? She grants herself impact as well, which is very, very nice. When you summon a multi-region ally, grant me and it +1/+0 in impact. So that's really, really good. Yeah, because now stacking the impact is, again, remember, the keyword impact stacks. So now she can basically end the game when she comes down alongside a couple other smaller, multi-region units. So good stuff there. So 2 champions that are underplayed that I don't know if they're going to be played more because, Nightfall still rip Nightfall. Yeah, Stalking Shadows, rip anybody? So I don't know about that. Echo, love the Echo buff. I think this is perfect. I don't think it breaks him by any means. I don't think it necessarily makes him great, but we'll see how that pans out with new cards. This one scares me. This one scares me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just A-Soul, the dragon himself, back at 20, and there's some other dragon buffs that we're going to see in a second. This is, I don't know, man. I think, I don't agree with this at all. Or maybe they do a weird one, 23 power or something like that. I don't know. Anything but 20. A-Soul was at 20. 20 was very clearly far too easy to achieve. This, and with the other dragon buffs we're going to see in a second, just I feel like somebody in the balance team was just hey man, I really like dragons and I'm in charge of the balance update this time, so dragons are going to win the next seasonal. And then poof, now we had dragons somebody played dragons in the last seasonal and did decent. So I don't think they're in a bad spot. I think they could have avoided the Aurelian Soul buff and then still done these other ones we're going to see in a second. Renekton and Lux. Renekton, love to see it. Don't think it's going to make him broken. Don't think it's going to make him incredible, but great nonetheless. I think it's perfect. And Lux, finally, gives me a reason to actually try to play test Lux and make some Lux decks again. So very happy to see Lux finally go back to 5 costs, and she might actually be playable now. I'm just saying, she might be playable. Quinn and Braum. I guess I'm okay with the Quinn buff. Scouts haven't been incredibly busted or anything lately, so that's okay. I think this might get out of hand at some point. I think, wasn't she a 3-5 before? I feel like she was a 3-5 before. I don't know. I think this might get out of hand eventually, but it's fine for now. And Braum, I'm A-okay with. This is great. Obviously can't give Braum attack. We know that. That's not a thing. 6 health is nice, though. Now he can trade with... He can actually block a 5 attack unit. That actually, I think, is very, very important. I'm actually curious to see if they ever... I can't remember. Put in the comments below if you guys know. Was Braum ever a 0-6 before? Because I feel like this is a no-brainer that maybe was just missed for a while if they didn't try it before. It's just weird. Okay. The 2 cards. The two of the most talked about cards. There's a couple others in here, but I mentioned these earlier. Sparklefly and Twin Blade Revenant. Sparklefly, yes. When we look at something like Kinku Lifeblade. This makes a lot more sense now. 2 costs for a 1-2 versus Kinku is a 4 cost for a 2-2. You get 1 attack for 2. Now, it didn't make sense. This now makes sense. Sparklefly, 3 mana, 1-2. Perfect. Great. Love it. This is where it should have been at the whole time. Still a decently playable card. Only downside, it's not 2 costs anymore. So now you can't summon it with Crescendum. So that might right there kill the Nami deck. But like I said, that's why I don't mind the Nami nerf a little bit. It wasn't really much, but I think generally speaking, the Nami decks have been taken care of. Twinblade Revenant changing to Fearsome. I like this. I like it a lot. A lot of people are like, do you increase the cost? Do you decrease the attack? Or nobody thinks about keywords. Challenger, I do think, had a lot to do with why this was so good, because it would just wreck the opponent's field. When you not only have this infinite value train, but also use that value train to trade with your opponent, whether they like it or not, that's when it becomes a problem. I like this. I like it a lot. And it goes with Noxus's kind of aggressive game plan. Didn't really make sense to me that it had Challenger. So I think it might still be a problem. But I do like this change for the sake of trying to nerf the card without killing it. I love this. Love, love, love it. So we'll see how that works out. Tenor of Terror was a little bit overpowered, I think. I think this might kill it a little bit too much, though. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen maybe like, I don't know. I don't really know what you do with the stats here, but I think this is a little bit too much. Maybe keep the second one that it summons as like a 3-2. Because now really you're just paying 4 mana for 4/4 worth of stats. That is just in 2 units. Yeah, and you get the double impact, I guess, but it's just not nearly as good. So I think this might be a little bit overboard, but I don't know how you really nerf this card without completely killing it. Love this. Love Relentless Pursuit going to 4. And I wouldn't have loved it if it was just going to 4. This also now grants an ally +1/+1. It's also grant and not give, which is great, which means they keep the +1/+1. I like this. They had to basically give it +1/+1 so that Golden Aegis wasn't just automatically better. Now it's, do you want +1/+1 or do you want barrier? I do think that Golden Aegis giving barrier might be always better with a rally than +1/+1. I'm not positive. Obviously, the +1/+1 gets retained throughout the game, so that's something to think about there. But definitely interesting that they did this, probably because of all the Lulu Poppy piles that we're seeing, and they didn't actually touch Poppy at all. And this is probably where I think that's coming from, right, to avoid touching Poppy. Stone Stackers, everybody thought this was going to happen as well. Love this. 2/3 with impact, no tough. Would have liked to keep the tough somehow, but I don't think there was a way to nerf this while keeping the tough and still making it, I don't know, maybe like a 1/2 with tough. But I don't know if that would have been enough. So, but I like this. I think this is fine. This was a no-brainer. This was way, way overstated for this cost. This is insane. I'm so happy this is 2/3. This is still really good. This is still good at 2/3. You're still going to see this all the time. But it's not a staple anymore. This is not a staple, which is great. It might even still be a little OP at 2/3. I mean, maybe putting it down to a 2/2 might have been what we needed to do here. So I'm just saying, because you still draw a card, and your opponent does not. I mean, they're drawing and discarding a card. So I don't know. I think we might even still need to go down to 2/2. Similarly speaking, Moondreamer and Lunari Priestess, these are 2 cards we haven't seen in forever. We also haven't really seen Invoke forever. This is why this Aurelian Soul is scary. All right, so we have Aurelian Soul at 20 now for a level up. We have Moondreamer going to 6, which means it can block 5 attack units, no problem, which is very, very, like I said, it's a very crucial health threshold. We have Lunari Priestess now being 2 health, so now it's a little bit stickier. It can chump block some smaller units. That's not too impactful, but it's a thing. Solari Priestess, same thing. Now it's a 2/2. Now it trades a little bit more evenly. And Ravoon. This isn't necessarily for dragons or Aurelian Soul and Vulcan, stuff like that. But actually, let's separate that from Aurelian Soul. I actually love this. This is great. This, I think, might make Leona a little bit more playable. So I love this right here. But now we have the Scourge getting buffed, right? We have Dragon's Clutch getting buffed. We have all of these dragon cards and all of these Invoke cards that are so OP now. So you're telling me you have Aurelian Soul now at 20. You have all of these Invoke buffs, right? Which these aren't too substantial. But now you add the buff to the Scourge, which again isn't too big. Dragon's Clutch, which now also grants allies Overwhelm. All right, which again, these are all minor in and of themselves. But now let's toss in Herald of the Dragons going to 2. So this does kind of shift Aurelion Sol's thought process, and maybe we actually play him in Dragons and not just like a Celestial deck. But, man, I'm really thinking Celestial is going to come back in a big way, and it's a little bit concerning. I'm not going to lie. So, Rune Dragon Guard, same deal. Good to see him. A little bit of a buff there. Feels bad for Loyal Badger Bear. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know how I feel about this. There's also this buff. Again, feels a little bit bad for Loyal Badger Bear. So I don't know how I feel about these. Let me make sure I didn't skip over one here. Face of the old ones, this is fine. Again, we haven't really seen Ramp in a while. This is great. This card just became super hella good. I don't know about this. I don't think this was needed. It's a little odd. Yeah, and I don't like how Loyal Badger Bear is basically just an unplayable card now, especially with this being in the same exact region, which is kind of concerning. And then Destinada. This is cool. I think this just makes sense that it does damage equal to the Darkness's value, which is good. So they get some labs updates coming. It looks like the Ultra Rapid Draw will be cycled out in patch 2.19 on November 10th. So it's going to be another couple of weeks or so till we get that. Round start effects now resolve before game ending or unit killing effects. This is very important. Prior to patch 2.18, round start effects resolved for the active player first. In practice, this meant a match with 2 players with full bandle trees would have the active player's bandle tree to resolve first, and in the game, now the same situation will result in a draw. This change makes round start effects consistent with rules for round end effects, which resolve in the same way. So Leviathans will now draw. Also, this means round start effects like Leviathan, if I'm reading this correctly, would resolve prior to Starspring or Bandle Tree. I believe. I hope that's accurate. Comment below if you think that's accurate, if you think I'm completely wrong. So, this I think is actually very, very big. Some other miscellaneous stuff, some bug fixes, which is pretty cool. So, but I think, honestly, I love most of these changes, but I am very, very concerned about Aurelion Sol. I get it. We haven't seen Aurelion Sol in a while. I get it. Targon has been dead for a little while. But holy hot damn, was there a lot of buffs to Targon. I think this is probably the most impactful, though, believe it or not, for Targon. I think that Leona might be a thing again, and I'm actually very curious. Maybe like Leona Lux. Maybe Leona Lux is a thing. I'm just saying. All right, well, anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Very excited for this patch. Very excited to get back into playing Lux for the most part. And as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.